Hi folks, and good evening. Thank you very much for joining us tonight for our KETK digital special, Alzheimer's disease and dementia. Chances are someone you know has been affected by this. I know I have, and it's a rough go. So tonight we're going to be covering everything from prevention and treatment, advice for caregivers. This is very important, and much, much more. So joining me tonight is Lynn Harms from the Alzheimer's Alliance of Smith County, Cynthia and Don Kent. Each of them have a very unique perspective on this disease, but we'll start with this. We'll move on. November is National Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month in Texas. More than 9,500 people have died from Alzheimer's in 2017. That's second in the nation, only behind California, which just had more than 16,000 deaths that year. But new research in Knoxville now is working to fight through that computer game technology. Katie Inman has our story.
There needs to be some major research in trying to find a cure.
Stephanie Helton knows the effects of Alzheimer's disease all too well. Her dad was diagnosed at the age of 57 with early onset frontal lobe dementia.
So from diagnosis to end, my dad lived about 4.5 years.
Now she's an advocate for research and finding a cure.
There just needs to be so much more done.
Alzheimer's Tennessee is helping fund brain research at the University of Tennessee College of Engineering.
Eventually, we think that it may have certainly application for people with a diagnosis of mild cognitive impairment or early stage Alzheimer's.
The TEK is a virtual program that gives the brain a computer workout by letting patients simulate things like driving a car. Every movement on the screen is controlled by the mind, not a joystick.
Part of the medication and other things that people will do will also be, okay, can I train my brain differently?
Here's how it works. A headpiece measures and collects electrical signals from the brain to help improve memory and attention in people like dementia and Alzheimer's patients.
It may help them as well as helping researchers really understand the brain.
Stephanie believes it's research like this that will play a role in finding a cure for the disease that took her father.
And I always say that if you don't know somebody, statistically you will know somebody.
And that was Katie Inman reporting there. By the way, the clinical trials for the technology will start next year. So Luann, we'll talk with you first. Tell me about the Alzheimer's Alliance and what you guys do.
Okay, well, the Alzheimer's Alliance is a local nonprofit, and we have social workers, we have an LPC, we have a community health worker.
Now, what's an LPC?
Licensed professional counselor.
Okay, I got you.
And so the licensed professional counselor does counseling with caregivers, because this is really a stressful journey, as you know. And then the social workers work with having a plan. We work with communication, do's and don'ts, education, because when somebody gets diagnosed with disease, unfortunately, it's not like you have a team of doctors that kind of walk with you. You're kind of given a diagnosis, and now what do you do? And so the social workers there help the caregivers have a plan. We help them with resources, whether it's, you know, somebody was a veteran and might be eligible for aid and attendance to get help in the home, or possibly get them on Medicaid to get provider services, get respite in the home, because you can't do this by yourself. You definitely need help.
Here's the biggest problem I have. Whenever it pops up, it just sort of hits you like a ton of bricks. And you're dealing with a situation with doctors and caregivers who are talking in their own vernacular, their own whatever, and you don't know what to do. If I could start my whole career over again, I think I wouldn't do this, and I would be a navigator.
Yes.
Because when we went through this with my mother, it was hell on earth. Because doctors are going fast, nurses are going fast, hospitals are doing this sort of thing, the insurance companies are talking this sort of smack, and you don't know what's going on. Can you talk about that?
Well, and you know, we are really blessed in our community in East Texas, because you're exactly right. When you get the diagnosis, it's like, oh my goodness, what in the world? How as a caregiver, what do I need? What does Don need? How to navigate this very strange, unexpected environment? First of all, getting your legal house in order.
Yes.
That's important, okay?
Yes.
And the earlier you do it, the more benefits that might be available later on. Next, to get your financial house in order, because it's going to change your life and change the person that has dementia.
Can I talk to you? I want to talk about this because at a conference we all were a part of on November the 2nd, Don gave a very compelling speech. And this kind of hurt my heart because I understand, because I went through this with my mother. So you guys do your typical trek to Dallas once a year to speak with your CPA. Everybody past a certain age group, you got to go and make sure your house is in order. You should do that. And Don said once he told his CPA his diagnosis, he immediately ignored him and went to you and spoke to you the whole time.
Well, it was the strangest thing.
What is up with that?
We had, you know, I didn't really deal with him. Don dealt with him all these years. We get the diagnosis at the Mayo Clinic. We come back. We go to Dallas to meet with our CPA because he's going to have to retire. Don tells him, I have Lewy body dementia, just been diagnosed.
Yeah.
Our CPA, his good friend, turns to me and never talked to Don a single time. He only talked to me then. So your legal house in order, your financial house in order, your spiritual house in order, we believe in that too, but also the medical community. And we're blessed in Tyler because Christus Trinity Mother Francis is working to become a dementia-friendly hospital.
Good.
UT, with the nursing school out there, they are really working hard with the Alzheimer's Alliance. Tyler Junior College puts on a great program. It's a one-day program for caregivers for people with dementia.
That is so important.
It is awesome, and it gives you little tips, things you can do about, I hate this word, therapeutic fibbing. You know, put it down. It doesn't. Don't argue with them. It's not that big
you're going to
deal.
lose.
You're going to lose.
I lost every one of them.
So that's it. But also great tips on providing physical care, emotional care, and also for the caregivers to keep yourself healthy so you can provide the help for someone. We have a great community in East Texas. There are a lot of resources. It's just people don't know about it, and people sometimes are afraid to say they have dementia and to reach out for help.
Here's the main thing you need to know when you have this, because it's so overwhelming, is that you're not alone. That's what the Alzheimer's Alliance does. And also, Don, we've done all the talking. Would you like to say something? Would you like to get a word edgewise?
Well, I think, first of all, when you get a diagnosis like this, you are really, I was actually relieved to finally know what was wrong with me, but then after that, you start thinking about planning and future and, you know, what's it going to be like. And the first thing that I felt like was a need to talk with other people going through the same journey I'm going through, and the Alzheimer's Association is working on establishing support groups for those of us that do have dementia, as well as support groups for the caregivers. And so again, we have these, we're getting these resources, and Tyler is really leading this community in the state.
Someone needs to lead.
The only community ahead of us is Fort Worth, and they just got a little head start on us.
Well, I find that a lot of doctors don't want to talk about this. I'm not trying to call the doctors out or whatever, but I think it's so new. It's so new. And again, I'm looking at your hair, looking at mine. There's such a thing you guys have been talking about called a silver wave. And so it's coming with baby boomers. And you guys, shoot this down if I'm saying this wrong. Back when I was a kid, people retired at 65. And I hate to say this, but you're expected to be gone by your late 60s or about 70, whatever. People are living a whole lot longer. And at first I was thinking, look at all these diagnoses of Alzheimer's. But you and I had this conversation before, the last time we met at a talk, is what's going on is people are just living longer.
Right.
People are living longer, so the silver wave is on the way.
Well, and the medical community, let me tell you, they really are good, caring professionals. But a lot of them don't really have the training with respect to dementia, much less Lewy body dementia. Alzheimer's is sort of the big item, but there's also many other types of dementias. And they have to be trained too. They have to learn too how to deal with the patients, the caregivers, to listen. And then there's a little bit of hopelessness sometimes because there's only so much the medical community can do because it's a disease such as Lewy body that really is not treatable, it's not curable, but there are some symptoms that they can deal with the symptoms.
That sounds good. So once again, not to cut off what the Alzheimer's does, also you guys have Mahjong for memory, caregiver advice, and also other services as well, right?
Right. We have a day club for people living with dementia. It's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's called Terrific Tuesdays and Terrific Thursdays, where caregivers can drop off their loved ones to day club, and these are evidence-based activities, and it gives the caregivers a break.
Now, we just spoke about this. For those living with dementia or Alzheimer's, it just doesn't affect them, it affects the family. Boy, does it affect the family. Don Kent has an aggressive form of dementia since his diagnosis. He has been dedicated to educating a lot of people, and I tell you what, you've been a great speaker, a lot of bravery there, young man, for going out and telling us your journey, because I'm telling you, I think it's affected a whole lot of people. Here's a report right now from KETK anchor Isaac Ramirez.
Don Kent is your average Texan. He enjoys waking up to the smell of coffee,
Cappuccinos and that sort of thing.
collects baseball cards,
Eddie Matthews. Third, yep, right there. He was third baseman.
and loves his wife and their 3 sons.
It's our son Wayne, who was in the Navy.
Earlier this year, Don's routine was suddenly interrupted.
I passed out while I was at dinner. We were in New Orleans for a family wedding. My wife's family is from New Orleans, and I just started feeling odd sitting at the dinner table, and then I passed out.
Don sought medical care, and a couple of heart problems were found, resulting in a pacemaker, but
So I had extreme cloudiness of thinking.
he consulted doctors in both Tyler and Dallas, but his condition became worse.
I started having suicidal thoughts and ideations, and I've never had anything like that before. And I hadn't been getting any answers here, and they decided that maybe I needed to go to the Mayo Clinic.
That's where he was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia, a disease that causes a progressive decline in mental abilities. It's caused by protein buildups in the brain.
I was stunned that I was diagnosed with a condition that I'd never heard of.
According to the Lewy Body Dementia Association, the disease affects an estimated 1.4 million Americans. Doctors can miss it because symptoms resemble Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and most medical professionals are still not familiar with the disease. As a result, it is widely underdiagnosed.
I experienced a huge sense of relief of finding out and finally knowing why I was having the problems I was having.
According to the Mayo Clinic, Lewy body dementia causes aggressive behavior in patients, depression, an increase in Parkinsonian symptoms, and ultimately leads to death, on average about 8 years after symptoms start.
Once he explained what the disease was, there's a great sadness that comes over you.
Don and his wife Cynthia got married in 1975 after meeting while in school at Baylor.
I was in the debate office. I was a sophomore, and I was getting ready for the season, working with my debate partner, and this very attractive young lady came in and my debate partner looked over at her and said, "Who's that?" And I said, "I don't know, but I'm going to marry her."
For decades as an attorney in Tyler, Don represented doctors and hospitals in malpractice cases, and Cynthia served as a state district judge. Her love for her husband is unconditional.
We have family together, and of course our faith. You know, our Lord Jesus really works with everyone who faces sadness and sorrow and loss and hardship and disease.
Cynthia has been by her husband every step of the way, making preparations for what's to come.
And immediately started talking about what to do in the future, making sure our legal life was in order. Went to see our financial advisor, making plans, you know, financially for my husband not working. And they put in the shower with all the handicap holes and all so that you could just roll your wheelchair up.
Don's disease continues to progress. He's now experiencing auditory hallucinations.
I was here on the couch, and I thought I heard a train coming through the house. I mean, I even got up to went and I knew that didn't make sense, but yet to me, I was sensing and hearing a train chugging down the track coming into our house.
Operating the microwave has also become a challenge.
It's not really a memory issue, it's a cognitive issue of, I know I'm supposed to hit some buttons, but I can't remember which buttons in which order.
And he's acting out his dreams.
I'm being chased or I'm in a fight. And I physically act my dreams out. In fact, once I gave my wife a black eye.
He's taking several prescriptions to slow the disease's progression, including turmeric as a supplement.
In the highest intake happens in India. Per person intake of turmeric is the highest, and also the lowest rate of dementia in the world is in India.
For now, Don is dedicating his life towards educating East Texans about the disease.
I've been diagnosed with dementia. The calls stop.
He recently spoke at Grand Rounds inside UT Health Northeast, a forum for doctors and medical students.
I need to have a purpose, and this is my purpose, is to let people know about this.
Don says he doesn't fear his future, but doesn't look forward to it either.
I really don't want to be a burden on my family, but you know, you become a burden.
Don and Cynthia spend their days looking at old photos,
I mean, not asking roller skating.
staring into each other's eyes, while holding hands, hanging on to the memories they've made.
Eventually, I won't remember the past, so the best thing to do is live for today, live in today the best way you can, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Isaac Ramirez, KETK News.
Don, it's been 2 years since your diagnosis, and I've heard you talk about this before. You have good days and you have bad days.
I do. It's one of the characteristic features of Lewy body. Dementia is a vast fluctuation in your cognitive abilities, and those still exist. And if anything, I'm having more bad days now than I did 2 years ago. But I still have mostly good days. So do the best I can with them.
All right. Louie, let me put you on the spot for a second. I know you're not a physician, but you talk about, we all talk about dementia and Alzheimer's. What's the big difference between the two?
Well, dementia is not it's just an umbrella of symptoms.
Because my mother started off
It's not a diagnosis. Yeah. Dementia is not a diagnosis.
That's good to know because so many people don't know that.
Right, and so we want to know what kind of dementia they do have. Don has Lewy body. It's good that we know what kind of dementia because there's certain antipsychotics he shouldn't be given, like Haldol.
Okay, so dementia is the umbrella.
It's an umbrella of symptoms. Okay, right. It can be memory loss, personality changing, executive functioning.
Sundowners.
Sundowners.
Which what I lived through. My mom would call me at night and scream at me on the phone.
Yeah.
And it was, you feel so helpless. I mean, the hardest thing is you're the adult. My mom saved my life by, before even getting Alzheimer's, she made a black book of all the credit card numbers, her funeral, how she wanted everything or whatever, and that saved my life. However, she was still rough to deal with at night.
Yeah.
At night was bad.
A lot of confusion, a whole lot of confusion, especially about 4 o'clock and on. But yeah, we want to know what kind of dementia somebody has because that's not a diagnosis, and there's about 80 different ones out there.
All right, so anything you want to add before we go to our next story?
Well, the only thing, like we're saying with the different dementias, Alzheimer's is the big one, and that there's so many people, but there's Lewy body, there's vascular dementia, there's frontal temporal lobe dementia. So that's important, and for people to know there's help out there.
Yeah.
There's help.
That is the main thing, is you feel so alone.
Yes.
I don't want to hit that too many times, but again, people care, and people can maybe steer you in the right way. Maybe one of us can, because I would be glad to do that, because I'm telling you, you're desperate when this happens. You really are.
Well, I always say help is a phone call away or a prayer away.
There you go.
Yeah. And what a blessing that your mom did that for you.
I know.
That black book. No, that is not the norm. That is not the norm where everything is, where you know where everything is. Usually you don't know where everything is. And when they get to the point where they're so confused, it's really hard for the caregiver.
Yeah, we would go home just to see Mom, and we would argue with her sometimes. I mean, she was just off and on with Alzheimer's, and I would always want her to move here, and we would have a knockdown, drag-out fight in the living room, and then on the way out, she would offer us candy bars.
Yes.
And so that was the weirdest thing in the world. But she did save us though with that black book. Okay, now onto this. Almost all of us know someone who is with a loved one with Alzheimer's, and once people basically know about the disease, most families need to get professional care. It can cost a lot of money too. Here's KETK's Annalise Coble.
Dan Heldman and his wife Beth got married 46 years ago, together weathering the ups and downs of life. So he says being there for her as she started losing her memory came easy.
When you make that long-term commitment, it's a lot easier in some respects to go to, full care.
But in the last year or so before Beth died, her dementia began getting worse. He and his wife moved from Virginia to Tyler to be near family, and then Dan couldn't care for her on his own anymore.
We had excellent medical insurance, excellent, but long-term health care we couldn't get.
Getting full-time non-hospice care in Tyler wasn't cheap.
Assisted livings are private pay, and so you could be spending anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000 a month because of the level of care that people who have Alzheimer's require.
And savings don't last long. Dan says when you're spending $5,200 a month. It is a well-known fact that getting people with Alzheimer's and dementia the professional care they need can cost an arm and a leg.
Groups like East Texas Agency on Aging are here to help.
Those services are temporary, but we usually try to bridge the gap with some of the other entities because they also have other programs that are not funded by us.
The Area Agency on Aging helps caregivers find the right assisted living facility or nursing home for their loved one with the disease. Staff help East Texans navigate the financial struggles as well.
Some other options are nursing homes. There is a Medicaid program that will help pay for some assisted livings. They just have to contract with the state. It's called the Medicaid Star Plus Waiver Program.
Because just one call to an organization like hers, she says, can feel like a lifeline when you need it most. Annalise Coble, KETK News.
And once again, there are several agencies that can help you figure out ways to pay for care, and East Texas Area Agency on Aging and the Alzheimer's Alliance are just some of your options. I'm telling you, the biggest problem I had, once again, is thanks to the Texas legislature, I'm being sarcastic, they also allowed for a supplemental insurance. Well, my mom, thinking she was doing the right thing back when she was in her right mind, she signed up for that. Well, that messed everything up because they kept trying to get her out of the hospital all the time when she would have to come in for something. And the hospital people would tell me off the record, what you want to do is stay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, stay with straight Medicare. That's what they were saying to do.
They say Medicaid Advantage is, Medicare Advantage is really Medicare Disadvantage. Sometimes.
I know, so I'm just saying, you know, make your own trials, do your own thing. I'm not here being the expert, but I'm telling you, these are some of the things you have to get figured out because I'm telling you, it will be a nightmare, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Have you run into that sort of thing?
Yeah, because some of those plans that are managed by a third party don't have the resources and may not be in network with some of the skilled nursing facilities, especially if you need rehab and stuff like that. So, you know, I just tell everybody to do their homework.
Well, she'd have a regular heartbeat or something would happen, she would fall, they'd rush her to the hospital, so at 3 o'clock in the morning, they would want to kick her out. They would want to kick her out, right?
Oh, well, I remember when Dawn's mother was elderly toward the end, they actually did put her out like at 12:30 in the morning.
Oh, it's happened to me.
Her home, and it was just devastating because she couldn't even make it to her room without having a problem. And so, you know, that is true, and that's, you know, there are government agencies that can help. There's insurance sometimes that can help. But family, and sometimes that's friends, sometimes that's your church family, and then nonprofit organizations that have professional social workers that can help you sort of maneuver through this system of what resources are there. Yeah. A lot of it's you just don't know. No. And you need someone to take your hand and lead you through. I called them the other day because my father has dementia also. So we've got Don and my father became ill, had a heart attack, and I was worried about some resources, and I called up the Alzheimer's Alliance, even though we're so close with them, and said, what can we do? And they had some little temporary respite help, which just gets you through the hump.
Because, man, that hump is big.
Oh, it is.
All right. Now this about a blood test. Imagine a blood test that you can take at your doctor's office that would detect Alzheimer's disease. Testing is underway right now in the Alzheimer's first blood test. A North Texas woman is excited to be part of that very first trial. Needless to say, we're having some trouble with that with Bianca Castro's report. Have you heard about that?
Well, I just a little bit about it, and it's good to have the information, like Don says, to know about what you're facing so that you can do the planning. But a lot of times people say, well, there's this blood test, and they think that means there's a cure. It doesn't mean it's a cure. It just means you're going to know about the diagnosis to plan and deal with it.
So have you heard about this at all?
Yeah, and I would
Tell
say
us about
that, well, I would say that what they're testing for is the APO4 gene.
Now, what is that?
It's a gene if somebody has that puts the risk higher of getting Alzheimer's. But I would say that if somebody wants that testing, it is available, but they would also need to go through counseling. You just don't want to just haphazardly go through tests and not have some counseling, you know, if you did end up being positive.
And there's also a positive negative about knowing early if you're not symptomatic, because if you find out, like in your 40s or 50s, that you have a genetic predisposition towards something, sometimes it's hard to get insurance.
Okay, the package, I understand, is ready, so let's try this again.